Starting in the 4th century AD, the lands of Caledonia had become no more, as the accounts of the Romans told of the lands north of Hadrian's Wall had changed. As prior to the 4th century AD, accounts speak of a mass migration toward the wall, as accounts told of the Caledonians who fled their lands, fled because of invaders from the far north, who managed to conquer the lands of Caledonia. In the 4th century AD, Roman commanders would write of accounts of raiders attacking Hadrian's Wall during the night, and even raiding as far south as Eboracum, now modern-day York. The Romans would also describe the Picts using boats made of rawhide to raid along the coast south of Hadrian's Wall. In 305 AD, the Western Roman Emperor Constantius and his son Constantine would do battle against the Picts north of Hadrian's Wall. In such, the Romans described the Picts forming themselves into a wall of long spears. Constantine himself stated that it was like facing off against the Macedonian pike formations of Alexander the Great. Constantine even mentions that Picts would also use these pike formations in a form to be used as an anti-cavalry units. However, later accounts even state that these units had even been used against regular infantry, as by the end of the 4th century AD, Constantine the Usurper, otherwise known as Constantine III, described of how both cavalry and infantry were pushed back by the Pictish pike formations, stating that the Pictish pike formations were a mix of pikemen, infantry, and archers. Constantine the Usurper even describes of a front ranks of a mix of pikes and infantry, stating that this formation would be used to unmount a man from his horse, or to even pull a soldier from the shield formations, while archers, being in the rear, would be used in order to break the formations of Roman units, in which after Constantine the Usurper left the island Britannia, the Roman Britons were left to defend themselves after Rome was unable to send troops to protect the island. In such, the Picts used this to their advantage, as in the 5th century AD, they had raided even further south from the city of Eboracum. The Britons would flee across the sea and into Gaul, while those that stayed were left to defend themselves. The Britons even believed that the Picts would even make their way as far south as the city of Londinium, modern-day London, as reported accounts state of the following: "The barbarians drive us to the sea, and the sea drives us back to the barbarians." It would only be for the remaining Britons, along with Saxon mercenaries, who managed to drive the Picts back to the north. But throughout the 4th to 10th century AD, the Picts would remain a thorn in the side of both the Britons and the Saxons, only to be later defeated and conquered by the Scots from Ireland. However, even with the complete disappearance of the Picts, their memory still lives on, as the tactics with their pike formations would later even be used for the Scottish War of Independence, as is most infamously seen in the battles of Stirling Bridge, Falkirk, and later the Battle of Bannockburn. The everyday clothing of the Picts was of that of short trousers and tunics, in which were made of that of wool or linen. During the summer and springtime, it was actually commonly seen that the tunics and trousers would reach only as far as someone's knees, while during the winter months, longer clothing would be added, such as long wool trousers and long wool tunics, that would reach as far as the ankles. However, some artwork does show these long tunics being worn during the campaigning seasons. There is also the infamous style of coifs being worn on the field of battle. It is highly believed, though, that these would only be worn during the rainy months or the cold seasons. But some artwork does depict the Picts wearing these even on the battlefield, possibly as a form of head protection from the said sun. Otherwise, it is very little known why. In fact, even archaeological findings can easily be found throughout the region of Scotland, in which, as we see with this design right here, the design of the tassels were meant to be designed just in case if it came to the rainy seasons, as water would start to drip down the tassels in order to provide the said user to actually stay warm and as well dry, especially in the harsh rainy climate. The footwear that would be worn would be of that of every common style footwear worn all the way into the 20th century. This type of footwear would help in the Scottish landscape, allowing drainage openings for the feet to actually stay dry, especially during the Scottish rainy seasons. During the winter months, the Picts would actually wear a form of wool leggings to keep the feet warm in the colder months. There are accounts of woven belts being worn on the field of battle, possibly as to represent a friend from foe on the field of battle. These style of belts would be used all the way into the 20th century in both Scotland and Ireland, possibly to tell where a man was from. The swords used by the Picts were of a mix of designs. From the 4th to 5th century, the Picts would have actually used a form of design identical to that of the Latin-style culture swords. But by the mid-4th century, this had changed as the Picts had started to copy of that of the Roman-style military swords. The sword designs varied from user to user, as there were designs that of which have a flat-headed pommel and guards, mainly copied from that of the Romans, while other times there are accounts of designs of a half-moon pommel and guard, making it look as though the body of a man. The length of the blades would range from 18 to 23 inches, depending on the user, and in such, swords were used by both an everyday warrior and a Pictish nobleman.
Din din da darim gano din din da darim ganizon Erulestre plegamar erulestre plegamar E well you gwen gata digo din din da.
Both artwork and historical accounts give light on Picts using axes as a form of weapon on the battlefield. Art depictions show axes as that of being of an everyday utility axe, that in which were used to cut down trees or split wood. However, now will be used to cut down their opponents.
Din din da darim ganizon Neventivat da vretonet Neventivat da vretonet Amalos rus da chalawet Din din da darim gano Din din da darim ganizon Enor da gwenadu Enor da gwenadu Adadre duria malos rus.
There are very little accounts of clubs being used like weapons on the battlefield. However, historical accounts do report of skulls being broken through their own helmets, and in such some artwork does prove of club-like weapons being used in battle. The shields the Picts were actually known to have used on the battlefield were most commonly that of a buckler-like shield, as accounts describe shields only being as big as a man's forearm. In such, there were very different designs from a common round shield to to that of a square, rectangular, or even that of the infamous H-shaped shield. It's believed the Picts preferred the square, rectangular, and H-shaped shields, moreover that of the regular round shield, possibly because it allowed the user to have more control against an opponent's weapon compared to that of the round shield.
Ammalos rus da khalawet Din din do darem go no Din din do darem go nizom En no da gwena du En no da gwena du Ada dwe tur ya malos rus Din din do darem go Din din do darem go nizom
Historical accounts state of that of Picts using a form of light javelin and spears, as the Picts would carry somewhere between 3 to 6 javelins into battle, while other accounts also state of carrying somewhere between up to 2 spears, for the reason is still left for debate. Bows and crossbows would be used by the Picts in order to cause a blanket of missiles to cover the front ranks of the Pictish front line. The Pictish pike formations would be in front, while the Pictish archers would be stationed in the rear to protect the line from breaking. Bows were more common than the crossbow during this time. However, historical artwork shows crossbows probably being copied from the Romans, but in such the crossbow was mainly only used for hunting rather than that of the battlefield use of weapon. According to historical accounts and artwork, the Picts would start to actually use a form of pike formation somewhere in the 4th century AD, possibly to be used as an anti-cavalry weapon. In such, the Picts would form what would best be described as a wall of spears, as not even a blade could pass between the deep rows of pikemen. The Picts wore very little armor. There are accounts of thick wool tunics to be worn as a form of light armor in order to stop cutting blows, but in such there is very little information on this subject, and as well very little artwork proving this to be true. However, those that could afford it would wear forms of shirts of mail, or even that of scale armor. In such, these forms of armor were more common for that of Pictish nobles, as there are accounts of only Pictish cavalry were known to have worn such armor in battle. According to historical artwork and archaeological findings, the helmets that were actually worn were typically of a copy design from that of the late Roman style helmets. Historians believe the Picts acquired these helmets either through a form of trade or in battle. Over the centuries, these helmets would start to actually lose both the neck and cheek guards, as the helmets would diverge over time into a different style of helmet altogether. However, these helmets could possibly even been used by the everyday Pictish warrior, rather than just the nobleman.
Quello gwyn wen ba na mua, quello gwyn wen ba, quello gwyn wen ba na mua, quello gwyn wen ba. Tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant. Quello gwyn a luf, on a guf, quello gwyn a luf, quello gwyn a luf, on a guf, quello gwyn a luf. Tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant. Quello gwyn a gal na gaval, quello gwyn a gal. Quello gwyn a gal na gaval, quello gwyn a gal. Tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant. Galit que vadel di pestel, galit que vadel, galit que vadel di pestel, galit que vadel. Tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant. When did Breton a gallon, when did Breton, when did Breton a gallon, when did Breton. Tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant. Gwyn a gwadarred, gwyn a gwadarred yn gefred, gwyn a gwadarred. Tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant. Gwyn a gwadruz, gwyn a gwadruz. Gwyn a gwadruz, gwyn a gwadruz. Tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant. Gwadruz a gwen an a wen, gwadruz a gwen. Gwadachal a wed o ared, gwadachal a wed. Tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant. Gwad a gwyn e fys a gwad fris, gwad a gwyn e fys. Gwyn a gwad a fef ne baef, gwyn a gwad a fef. Tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant dire au dire, tant dire à tant. naranich hamiskis milumhim uai naranich dönan hamiskis milumhim uai naranich hamiskis milumhim uai naranich dönan hamiskis milumhim uai naranich hamiskis milumhim uai naranich dönan kulanto mein brajanto mein kulanto mein vojoch kulanto mein brajanto mein hulalana monar hamiskis milumhim uai naranich hamiskis milumhim uai naranich dönan spoch nach romilaterisch shinne viech jolver rachin lat gekul na krunje var tunje sjolag hamiskis milumhim uai naranich hamiskis milumhim uai naranich dönan hamiskis milumhim uai naranich hamiskis milumhim uai naranich dönan Isacheren o ethenok Fo asna farge findol Isacheren o ethenok Fo asna farge findol Mi agore moramin Dolek rilei no alohlin Mi agore moramin Dolek rilei no alohlin Isacheren